Let's talk about the difference between what the stats say and what the market and truly boots on the ground is. Because the honest truth is some homes are flying off the shelves and some homes are staying on the market for much longer than anticipated. And that has been part of our truth the last 5-6 years. And so we're going to dial all that in. We're going to kind of throw the stats out, and we are going to just talk about boots on the ground, real stuff, real emotion that are absolutely going through buyers, sellers, homeowners' heads, just like you. Truth is that I've helped many people just like you make these decisions. I help manage the asset of the home throughout the entire process, because the truth is the market changes. I'm Jeremy Kane with eXp Realty, living in the Denver suburbs, and we are going to get completely real with all of you tonight. Don't worry, it's not doom and gloom. I'm not here to tell you there's some crazy market crash, but the market is very stagnant right now, and it's not the same for everybody. So it's almost like it's a yin and a yang, right? So let's talk about people that have their home on the market or thinking about selling. This section is absolutely for you, right? The perfect move-in ready, aggressively priced homes in neighborhoods that are desirable, that don't have a lot of listings already there and choices are moving. That's a lot of boxes to check, and there are very few of those homes. But that's what we see on Facebook and Instagram and all the things, multiple offers, 2 days, all of it, right? That absolutely happens. But for the majority, a lot of things are moving slowly in many of the major price points, especially here in the Denver metro area, and even more so in northern Colorado. So let's talk about the rest, right? What is the solution to the rest? The truth is that what's it look like? And when we're talking slow, we're talking 0 showings, 1 showing a week, maybe a showing every couple weeks, slow, right? 30 plus days on market. And in the past, that's been a definite we're priced too high. And I want to caution you on this tale that we are priced too high when we are getting the 1 or 2 showings per week. Because some people are like, it's on the market for 10 days. Let's lower the price. Let's lower the price. Let's lower the price. And the truth is you're chasing the market to the bottom. And yes, eventually lowering the price significantly will procure an offer, but is it the offer that is actually matching what your home is worth? Probably not, right? So as we continue to push through this, we have to understand that a price drop is sometimes not that. The truth is we need the buyers to come out. We need them to like your property more than the other 10 that they probably could see in their price point at their area, in their area, and really focus in on what that microcosm of that specific area is. And the reality is it might be a little bit, right? We have to be patient. We have to push forward. Now, some sellers, as I've talked about on this channel, have to make a move, right? Maybe they bought and they don't have the luxury of equity. Maybe some people do have the luxury of equity, but what I'm here to tell you is don't completely disregard the comparables, what's going on, the competition, and just lower the price blindly, because ultimately that is money that's coming out of your pocket. And if we can practice patience, certainly, if you're overpriced, the market will tell you. It's just a little bit, it tells you in a different way right now. And that's in the way of no showings, 1 showing, feedback says overpriced, everything says overpriced. And so that's where it is. So it's either flying off the shelves, an offer, full price, multiple offers, and when we're talking multiple offers, we're not talking 5-10 offers in most cases, unless something was seriously done wrong on the front end with the pricing. So that is it for sellers. So what does this tell you as buyers? As a buyer, right now you have a ton of power, and the power lies in that listing that's been on longer than 7 to 10 days. And if you're out there and you're looking, certainly see the ones, the turnkey ones, you'll be able to get those, probably not in bidding war. But if you feel like maybe you've tried that a couple times, start looking at the 7 to 10 days on market, right? These are the people that are starting to figure out, oh, this isn't, yesteryear's market anymore. And then there's opportunity in that, right? If you've been waiting for a deal, there is opportunity right now to get those deals. And I understand, right? Because the first thing that people are going to say, well, interest rates are super high. Well, the interest rates that you see on Instagram, the interest rates that you see on Facebook, truthfully, probably don't even exist for you. But secondly, if you are a buyer in a market where you have a seller who's motivated to help you get into that home, then you can get whatever rate you want within perspective, or at least a more tolerable rate using concessions and all of the things. And so this is where you actually have the opportunity, and it's scary, right? We don't know the economy, the tariffs, all these things are kind of in the headlines and in our head. But at the end of the day, you need a home, and if you're paying rent, that's going to go up too, right? So you might as well focus on finding the opportunity in this higher inventory market. And that's honestly where it lies. A 10,000 concession a day is a long-term win for you on a rate. And most sellers won't even blink an eye. Most sellers should be expecting that if they've been on the market a little bit. Now, they just drive the price 50,000, they're not going to give you a 50,000 concession, but you can kind of play the game there and really figure it out. So that's kind of my one thing for buyers right now. You do have opportunity, and the sellers need you, and we need you. So let's get out and do that. And the next piece I kind of want to talk about, and this was brought up at an agent event today, is, are the sellers really understanding the buyer's reality, right? And one of the agents that was speaking on the panel mentioned that she shows the monthly payment for the typical down payment, whatever price point you're at, and what that looks like. And the truth is, $5,000-$6,000 monthly payments with traditional, down payments, 3, 5, 10% for those, kind of first-time home buyers, paints a really different picture than the home seller saw when they bought the home. And they could have bought in the last 2 or 3 years, and it's kind of, they're close, so it's not a sticker shock. But if they've owned that home for 5 years and we turn that around and the interest rate went from 3 to 7 and the home price went up $100,000, the actual piece of that, not to mention maybe you had 20% down when you bought it, but this person doesn't, those are massive, gaps in what happens. And so as sellers, it's not always, a bad thing to offer a concession. At the end of the day, we talk a lot about net proceeds and that kind of stuff, and that's what's important, so you can go on to your next, so you're not having one of those massive payments if you're not expecting it. But also just understanding what the other side is dealing with when they come into your home. And where does this come up? Well, if I have a $5,000 monthly payment, I'm going to want a new water heater if it's 10 years old, because I'm not going to be able to just drop, $2,000 to get that installed. Or if the AC is 30 years old and they don't make it anymore, and, we're sitting on it and we're saying, okay, well, now the ACs are more expensive because of, the Freon thing that just happened this last year. That's going to be something that could be asked for because of that monthly payment. So it's all about coming together, making a deal, providing the best possible situation for the buyer who's making you an offer, typically in Colorado, $500,000 offer, right, or more. And so we have to understand that. And from a seller's perspective, understanding the buyer's reality is key. And the days of, I'm not going to do anything at inspection and only, if it's broken kind of things, the reality is it's probably not going to happen. And so as we kind of push through this, we have to understand that this is a serious point in our industry to help these people kind of come together, right? And it's not buyer against seller, right? If we have somebody that wants to buy the home, we have somebody that wants to sell the home, we put the deal together and we move forward and we work together to get it across the finish line. And that's the key. And so understanding that reality is absolutely important and something that could do a lot of good for a lot of people in this current market. And then we're going to talk about the homeowners. I haven't forgot about you guys yet. Homeowners are sitting here on the sidelines. They're saying, "Oh man, I'm losing equity by the minute," according to the headlines. Truth is that this last month actually was the very first month, I think, in my entire career, coming up on 11 years, that we've had zero flat appreciation in our market. Even through the crazy times, even through that, it's just kind of how it's been on average and how it's played out. So it's not like we're losing a ton. And I had a conversation with one of my lender buddies the other day, and I talk about this all the time. If your home on your HomeBot or whatever I send you that says kind of the average value of your home every month said 800 one month, and now it says 770, right? Did you actually lose $30,000? No. Right? And so we have to come at it from a different perspective. And I know that doesn't sound great for those of you that bought it when it was 800 and it came to 770. But the truth is that equity home ownership is a long-term play and everything's going to be okay. But it's just a very different market, right? We see, home application rent or loan applications up 23%, loan applications plunged 13%, same headline, different month, right? And so we're so hyper focused on these stats sometimes and the headlines that we don't really kind of take it in, because the truth is, if you're not selling your home or you're not looking to make an equity play using the equity in your home, none of this really matters. Pay your mortgage, hopefully with that 3% interest rate. Take care of your home and improve it so it's where it's at when you do need to make a move. Because that's the other thing. We're coming into these homes that have deferred maintenance, and do we want it to be, as good as possible and price it aggressively and have it sell quickly? Or do we want to just sit and wait and have someone beat us up for a flooring allowance and beat us up for an HVAC and beat us up on inspection? It's gonna happen. Buyers are in a tough spot. And so right now they're beating you up on price, right? Because you've been on the market for a while. They're saying, okay, we can get a deal. And then here comes that inspection that's asking for some major items that maybe aren't in disrepair, but are at the end of their life expectancy. And so there's a lot of tools that we can use to do that. There's a lot of insurances and things that we can do. And this is the market that those are built for, right? Where it's coming, you can provide, home warranties, sewer line warranties, all the things that are out there as a recourse. But at the end of the day, sometimes the buyers are gonna be like, nope, we need a new one. And at that point, you're under contract, you've been on the market for 45 days, you're under contract, you've been under contract for 10 days. It is what it is. You're probably gonna have to do that anyways for the next buyer, so we might as well just get it done. So it's very important that you understand this as a seller and slow down a little bit, right? As agents, we need to slow down. We need to understand, okay, what are our options here? What is the best option? I have told many people, my agents, sellers bringing me, my agents bringing me scenarios, and I say, well, can they rent it? Can they do some things? Because it's not an optimal time to be out there on the market and adding to the inventory and doing this, piece. And so there are other opportunities. And granted, call me. I'm not going to talk you out of putting your house on the market, but I am going to give you a reality of understanding what the market actually is, and we can go from there. At that point, my job is to sell your home as quickly and easily as I can for the most amount of money. But the truth is, expectations have to be managed right now, because we are seeing on new listings that are nice. I have a new listing in Longmont, beautiful backyard. We had 3 showings, right? 2 of them were interested, nothing on the table yet. But that home in 2021 would have had at least 25 showings and probably 5 offers based on how we priced it. Now it's a little bit different. And so we just have to practice patience, and we have to understand what we're doing and how we're doing it. Buyers, sellers, agents, we all have to come together. We have to get creative. Sellers, concessions are not like a doom and gloom Maybe a contingent offer, if it's under contract, isn't doom and gloom. There's a lot of opportunity there for people to, that want to have your home, get the process going that we wouldn't have even considered back in the day. So that's the bottom line. The truth is you need somebody to have that consultation, to understand, to set those expectations. And if we set those expectations the right way and we're focused on doing what's right for all involved and we're all going to walk away happy, then that's great. If you're going to walk away zero or have to bring money to the table because you bought a year or two, whatever ago, and you don't have to make a move, what else can we do? I have some great contractors that can change homes like that, right? So that's where we really need to land this plane, is understanding that it's a time of patience. It's a time of, collaboration to make this happen. So it's not all doom and gloom. The market's not crashing, but it is very much a stagnant piece, right? And I'll tell you right now, I have 5 active listings. I had 3 calls today for listings. I have 2 more coming next week. So it's a huge time where, if I would have had 14 listings on the board, 1 under contract and 13 that are coming or active, it would have been a very different, tune, 3 years ago. But that's not where we're at. And so we have lots of sellers. So if you're thinking about buying, let's have a consultation. Let's talk about this. Let's make a plan, because this opportunity right here might not exist in 6 months. It might not exist in a year for you as a buyer. And what's it going to take? The rates getting into the 5s could break the levee of the pinup demand and cause things to absolutely go crazy again, which we all know wasn't amazing. So let me know if I can help you. Understand that I'm a team player. I'm going to do whatever's best for you as the client. And I'm going to tell you, maybe it's better if you rent it. Maybe it is better if you rent and not buy right now. But the truth is, we don't know until we look, and there is massive opportunity in this market. So we'll see you next time. Like, comment, subscribe. I have helped many people just like you. So if that's you, don't just like, comment, subscribe. Shoot me a text message, shoot me a DM on Instagram, and we can get this done and start the American dream right now for you. Let's go.